CGI in anime tends to get a bad reputation among anime fans, and honestly, I can't say that it isn't warranted. On average, when television anime implement 3D into their primarily 2D world, it looks jarring. Frame rate, character designs, and just the overall flow of the scenes in general drastically are different from one another, comparing to what was just on screen. Most of these scenes are primarily 2D with one asset sticking out like a sore thumb in 3D. It makes sense to use 3D as it's easier to animate, but at the cost of it usually looking worse. But if you're behind schedule, sometimes you have to do what will get it done, no matter the cost. Now Toei Animation, however, tends to use 3D quite well. Movies like Captain Harlock look amazing, and despite the negative backlash they may get for their mediocre to horrible looking anime depending on the episode, such as One Piece or Dragon Ball Super, they do have a skilled staff when put onto smaller, more controlled projects where resources don't need to be spread so thin. Their most recent example of a new original anime that uses 3D in one of, if not the best ways that I've seen in television animation, coming out of Japan, is Kado: The Right Answer. A show not many talked about, and if you're like me, the reason you waited so long is that you wanted to binge it. The story that Kado goes for isn't completely original or out of left field with many mediums such as the film industries with movies such as Arrival, but in terms of anime, it's pretty damn unique. We see the tag anime original a lot, and that means the anime isn't based off a pre-existing source material, but generally you can find a series similar to it within the animated form. But in terms of Kado: The Right Answer, I can't think of one. Now granted, I'm sure someone will point out a series from years back or maybe even recently, and it just flew over my head. But I truly think Kado: The Right Answer deserves the title of anime original and shows other anime how to use smart 3D. First, let's discuss what the show is. Kado follows a modern day Japan who out of nowhere witnessed a giant floating cube suck up a plane on a runway and take all the passengers hostage. The man behind this event is Yaha. Insert the rest of his long ass name here. A man who isn't really a man but in fact is this floating cube who took the appearance of someone that the Japanese could relate to. And the story revolves around these passengers getting free. The catch is he isn't evil in the eyes of the public after a few conversations. See, what starts out as an abduction story quickly becomes one revolving around humanity and our greed. For most of this anime, we witness Yaha offer humanity the chance to evolve and ascend past where we are currently. The first object that he offers humans is an unlimited source of energy. These floating orbs which can power any piece of technology with an unlimited source of power. This little arc quickly becomes a game. Will Japan hand over this gift to those threatening Japan, as this level of technology would throw us in disarray. Jobs would be lost, we would have no workforce or competition in electricity. And more than likely, it could do more harm than good in the eyes of the government and businesses. But what makes this specific scenario fascinating is at the core, Yaha seems to be offering humanity a way to world peace. With one single device, so many issues could be solved, but because it would halt production, then businesses would collapse and possibly wars could start. What I think Kado does brilliantly is showcase the greed of humanity, how we can't put the needs of the many over the needs of the few. If Yaha has this ability, he is bound to have more. If we accept these gifts he grants us, then we too could be as powerful as him in theory and bring our planet to everlasting peace. But those in power never want to give it up, and that is the darkness that resides in most hearts. What I really love is when a series brings up a question that is hard to answer, as both of these answers seem right and wrong in their own way. In the case of this one gift, giving humanity this unlimited supply of energy that would eventually reach the whole world. No longer would we need to burn fossil fuels, no longer would we need to harm our Earth. We could be on the way to a perfect tomorrow, but the negative is it could become a war of who holds the monopoly. One country should have it over the other, jobs would be lost, the list could go on. And this one issue does a brilliant job at showcasing how humanity truly would act if we were presented this exact same gift in our own society. And how they overcome the demand of the world telling Japan to hand it over is one of my favorite scenes in this past anime season. But the great thing with Kado is it's not the only issue that they need to deal with. They even introduce the ability to not have to sleep, increasing human productivity by 8 hours a day. What makes this show so compelling is it essentially starts off by being an alien abduction story and quickly turns it around into being a god granting humanity endless power for seemingly good reasons. It was so refreshing to see an anime take this approach in storytelling. The main character Shindo as well is a great lead and became the spokesperson between humanity and Yaha, and with episode 0 you get a really good sense of who he is as a person before everything hits the fan. Now the worst part of the entire anime comes with the final few episodes where both the most interesting content and the weirdest just so happen to be one and the same. Without going too heavy into spoilers, let's just say it shifts into a sort of creation of the universe kind of deal, which was as fascinating as can be to watch, but then quickly goes anime for the sake of being anime, and then it gets a little weird. Not to say bad, as some claimed and even said that the final few episodes and ending ruined the series, but for me it was still a great watch from start to finish. Hell, they even pull a twist with a character who seemed to be only there as a generic romance plot device and quickly shift them into a key player. I just can't help but say the offering of gifts with how humanity will deal with these changes was more interesting than the big reveal. But to end a show such as this one, I guess it was needed, and I personally liked the entire ride of this anime. Kado the Right Answer gave us the answer it was presenting since episode 0. If you want change, make sure the next generation progresses towards a better tomorrow. A part of me wonders if this anime was made to get Japan to start having sex and increase their declining birth rate with the message that it was going for, as you can see with the final episode. But let's talk about the presentation. Honestly, it looks great. Many series such as Knights of Sidonia to even Ajin uses 3D to animate their series. For Knights of Sidonia, I actually think it works as the series is set in space, so the slow feeling and just awkward movements make sense as you feel like they are in space, and not just because you're seeing the stars in the sky, but because of how they seem to float around with the movements all being within 3D environments. But really, Japan hasn't been that great with TV anime using it as their crutch. However, Kado does it right. At no point did I think this looked ugly. The character models moved in a weird way, or did the frame rate seem to be pulled from a PS1 game? The anime felt as smoothly animated as that of many 2D focused anime as of late. They kept the design of most modern 2D anime, but they just popped the bitch into 3D without losing the charm we love so much. So many times you hear I wish this was in 2D instead, but in the case of Kado, I wanted this exactly how it was presented. I feel like the team behind Kado could teach a lot of animators in Japan a thing or two about how to use smart 3D in anime. Really, Kado was an anime I truly loved. It felt new and refreshing for anime, and even if the ending was a little weird, it did make sense to me, and the message that it went for was an interesting turn of events. But even if you absolutely hated the ending, I don't see how 3 episodes could ruin your enjoyment when the other 9 episodes you enjoyed. There have been plenty of series with piss-poor endings that I still enjoyed because the other episodes blew me away. So if you are one who hated the ending to Kado the Right Answer, don't let that remove the time you spent loving the political side it presented for 3/4 of the series. But let me know your thoughts on Kado the Right Answer down in the comment section below. I'm sure many will talk about their distaste for the ending, which is absolutely your right, but let me know what you thought about the series overall, your favorite moment, what you liked or disliked about it. I love reading everyone's thoughts, so let me know yours. And before you leave, please be sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel and hit that like button to show your support. And if you like what you see here and you want to kick $1 or $2 my way, then head on over to my Patreon and pick yourself up a perk or 2 as well. So until next time everyone, please take care and have a good one.